I get so many questions from individuals that are considering starting carnivore, but they don't want to commit because their doctor isn't on board, or their doctor hates carnivore, or their doctor says carnivore is going to kill you, carnivore is dangerous. So, in today's video, I asked Dr. Tony Hampton, a board certified physician and metabolic health expert, also an incredible individual that we've interviewed for our documentary. I asked, why do so many doctors hate carnivore? Why so many doctors still fear a proper human diet? And his answer was very enlightening, and I hope it'll help you. And today's video is proudly brought to you by Beast Mode Soap. Huge thank you to Beast Mode Soap for supporting our channel and our efforts with healing humanity. This is 100% grass-fed beef tallow, and it's super clean. What you put on your body is very important. It's as important as what you put in your body. So if you're not willing to eat it, you probably shouldn't put it on your body. I've been using this for about a year now, and I stand by it. There is a link in the description below so you can get yours and support the channel. Now into today's video with the amazing Dr. Tony Hampton. Dr. Tony Hampton, the question is, why do so many doctors hate carnivore? When we go to our doctor and we tell them what we're doing, they're scared, they don't understand. And a lot of people throw their hands up in there and they're like, I can't do this. I need a carnivore friendly, keto friendly doctor.
Yeah, well, it seems so extreme to say to a person in front of you when I've been trained. My medical training says that most of the things I've been advised to do are very carbohydrate centric. So if I look at the DASH diet, which is the dietary approach to stop hypertension, it's very carbohydrate centric. It looks just like the old food pyramid, and they recommend 7 to 8 servings of vegetables and fruit, and I think it's 7 to 8 servings of grains. And I mean, it's just ridiculous. And then they'll say 10 servings of fruits and vegetables, but half. So if you do 5 servings of fruit every day and 7 to 8 servings of grain, this is the DASH diet, which is just like the old food pyramid. And that's what you've been taught your entire career. Low fat, high in grains. Then if somebody comes to you and says the complete opposite, what do you think your doctor's going to say? They're going to say that's dangerous. There's no way that's going to make sense. And they're going to struggle to recommend that. And so that's kind of like what the pyramids say and the nutrition folks say and the guidelines. And when you follow those guidelines, they don't really connect the dots between that poor advice and the outcomes they see. More importantly, when you think about a carnivore diet, which has animal protein that may have saturated fat in it, they have been told their entire career that saturated fat is a problem. Thankfully, Kennedy just put out a statement in The Guardian that he endorses saturated fat. And that's because the old heart diet hypothesis theories from the past, thanks to thanks to Ansel Keys and others, have led us down this rabbit hole to think that saturated fat is harmful. So, of course, a carnivore diet is high in saturated fat and people get nervous. But what we've learned is that if you reduce inflammation and you focus on what matters, not the total LDL, but maybe the LDL particles, the small and large particles, maybe the triglyceride to HDL ratio being less than 2, maybe the apoprotein beta A ratio being in the normal range, maybe your inflammatory markers like a C-reactive protein or a set rate being in the normal range, maybe your belly size being normal, your blood pressure, your blood sugar, the metabolic measures. That's what matters. But most conventional doctors do not follow that process. They follow the LDL is high, put them on a statin. So in that model, doctors struggle. They also struggle because fiber is what they think is mandatory, is necessary to be healthy. And that's what we've been taught our entire medical careers. We now know that fiber is not necessary for a bowel movement. Thankfully, tigers and lions still have bowel movements, as are carnivores still having bowel movements with no problem. So this myth that fiber is necessary is something that keeps them distracted. They also get distracted because they're worried about the kidneys, all that protein. The first thing you have to understand is that carnivore and keto diets are more high fat than they are high protein or moderate protein. So that's already fake news. But the key is that there's no problem with protein in your kidneys. Now, if you have a kidney disease, you have to modify it a little bit. But for the most part, there's no issue. But doctors who are not familiar with carnivore, who think it's high protein and they think it's harmful to the kidneys, they they have misinformation. The other thing is we need more research. Now, we do have the Harvard study that showed all of these great outcomes from a carnivore diet, but it was observational. So we need randomized controlled trials. And doctors, they live by research. So until they see more research, they don't really trust our anecdotal experience, the experience you've had, Carrie, and the experience I've had. So a lot of times they're not confident yet. We understand that carnivore is a keto diet, and we have tons of research that say that a keto diet is not only a recommended dietary pattern, but maybe the best dietary pattern. So since carnivore is a keto diet, that gives us permission to use this diet until more research is done. So I think most of this is the lack of education that our typical carnivore doctor, or should I say carnivore doctor in general, has. And because doctors don't have that education, I have a master's in nutrition. And why did I get a master's in nutrition, Carrie? Because I'm in a large health system. Advocate Health is in the top 5 for scale size. So if I'm standing before my peers and they are hearing me talk about this topic, I need to have something tangible to say, well, I've studied nutrition and I've had a chance to understand it at a higher level. Therefore, maybe you'll trust my words more than maybe the next person who doesn't have that. So that's one of the reasons why I took the time, so I can talk to my colleagues and at least they'll take the time to listen to me. And I think that's really important, that we listen to each other. I do not need Most of my patients are not carnivore, but most of them are leaning towards low carb because I've educated them that if they eat that way, they'll do fine. So again, and I'm trying to do that within my health system, which is why I'm still in a large health system. And because if we can get a large health system to hear this message, imagine what it'll do for the health systems that will get jealous. They'll say, man, their health system's healing people. I want to do what they're doing. And then we can then model that for others. We can't just do this on YouTube or on a podcast or at some low carb conference. We have to do it in an environment where people are not used to hearing that. Because when I go to a low carb conference, Carrie, most of the people have already drunken the Kool-Aid. They already have bought into this. We need to go into the American Medical Association meeting where people haven't heard this. And that's what the American Diabetes Society hopes to do. That's what the Society of Metabolic Health Practitioners helps to do, because we have an outreach committee that I chair. And those types of organizational movements will then move us forward. But thankfully, we have an administration under Kennedy's leadership that tends to get this. So we have an opportunity that is probably like we've never seen before. So I'm really excited about the future.
I am too. I really appreciate you, Dr. Hampton. And I would just encourage people, if you're scared to start carnivore because your doctor isn't on board, you can potentially find another doctor, or you can realize you don't necessarily need the permission of the doctor you visit in person to make decisions about your diet and nutrition. I didn't do that. What I did was I followed Dr. Tony Hampton on YouTube and Dr. Barry and some of these other good doctors, because it is really important that you get your questions answered. The reasons you're scared to start carnivore, those questions are really important, but oftentimes they've been asked and answered, or they can be, by good doctors like Dr. Tony Hampton. So I'll have a link to Dr. Hampton's YouTube channel in the description below. And I encourage everyone, go subscribe. You've been doing some incredible videos over there, really helping a lot of people find healing. So thank you so much, Dr. Hampton.
No problem. I appreciate you, Carrie.